Hello, and thank you for joining our webinar, AI-driven insights for smarter inventory and demand planning. You will learn how to utilize AI to look at inventory, supply chain, and point of sale data that provides insights helping you make decisions to improve revenue and profitability. My name is Corey Cicchini from NetSuite, and I'm joined today by Matt Wasink from SPS Commerce and Jeff Aly from Bryant Park Consulting, who will be taking us through the content of today's webinar. But first, let me introduce you to NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. The Analytics Warehouse is a combination of three applications: a data warehouse, an ETL tool to move data, and a visualization tool. You will be able to create dashboards for quick analysis and decision-making throughout your organization. The real benefit here is you get three tools in one, all tied to your NetSuite data, as well as third-party data sources. As you'll see here, Mitch Saunders from Thread talked about the two benefits of the warehouse being more accountability across their organization and more adoption of using data to drive decision-making. At this point in time, I'm going to turn it over to Matt, and he'll take us through the next portion of our presentation. Matt?
Thanks, Corey. Appreciate you joining us today. Again, my name is Matt Wasink with SPS Commerce. I've been with SPS for a little over 6 years. And the customers that we serve alongside NetSuite are really companies who create product and then get those products to the right place to meet consumer demand. So you can think of these as buying organizations, sometimes brick and mortar retailers, right? Those suppliers that are selling into the Targets and the Walmarts and the Costcos of the world, but also the distributors and the 3PLs and logistics companies that help to get those products where they need to be on time so that you, the consuming public, have what you need. Jumping ahead, we could take a look more at what does our partnership specifically look like with NetSuite. NetSuite is really our most strategic market. We have almost 3,000 mutual customers. So we've been doing this at a very high level for a long time together. And at SPS, we have a 250-person team dedicated to helping you leverage NetSuite to its fullest potential. It's really an incredibly scalable solution and coming alongside to help you think through your supply chain automation needs and how you can really enhance how you're running your business to drive more revenue with better data insights. One of the key ways that SPS is able to do that alongside of NetSuite is really the power of our retail network. We have over 1 million pre-built reusable connections within that network that really allows you to connect to those crucial trading partners really efficiently so that you can receive order to cash and procure to pay data in a really timely manner. So we have 3,500 buying organizations. These are retailers, distributors, grocers, manufacturers that sit within our network where we help you to meet compliance with their asks around things like purchase orders, ASNs, and invoices. And then again, 100,000 suppliers, vendors that live within our network that we are helping to connect to those buying organizations. And again, then 400 system partner relationships. So this is really what we do with NetSuite and then partners like Bryant Park that help us to accentuate the product offering, as well as a whole variety of different WMS solutions that help to fill out how you leverage that NetSuite ERP as your single source of truth, but to really scale your business so that you can continue growing. Now, when we think about our typical customer that leverages SPS and NetSuite, they're really using us to manage a couple of different components of their business. It's the exchange of business information on the order to cash side with their customers, right? So these are the trading partners that you work with on day-to-day across all those different order channels. So in an omni-channel environment, you might be selling into Amazon and Target, maybe Walmart and Walmart.com. Maybe you have a Shopify connection and another e-commerce presence as well. Managing that order to cash information seamlessly across the different requirements of those trading partners, but doing it natively out of NetSuite. But also giving you the ability, if you have a vendor or supplier community yourself, that you can actually automate outbound procure to pay information from NetSuite. So the ability to create and send a single standardized purchase order to 550 or 500 different vendors and suppliers, and then receive back things like advanced ship notices, order acknowledgements, and invoices, all within NetSuite to really allow NetSuite to thrive as that single source of truth for your business. And then if you're leveraging carriers and 3PLs, also exchanging that shipping information so that all of that information is getting to your trading partners in a really timely format so that you can avoid any kind of chargebacks. So that's really the bread and butter of what we do with NetSuite. It's really crucial for you as a products company to run your business well, and to do it within NetSuite as your ERP is really, really important too. What we see though, and Corey really mentioned this earlier, is that data-driven companies, and really by data-driven, we mean companies that are strategically leveraging data to make intuitive decisions, will outperform the market. You're 23 times more likely to acquire customers. So you think about, hey, we're in, a Shopify setup and we've got maybe 3 traditional trading partners. If you want to grow that to 10 or 20, leveraging data correctly will allow you to do that. It also allows you to grow faster just from a general revenue standpoint, and to see those sales grow year over year. So what we're going to look at today is how do we help you be strategic about all the data that's out there as you run your business, and then leverage NetSuite and NetSuite Analytics Warehouse to really make better informed and more proactive decisions with that data. A major piece of the puzzle that SPS helps with in this regard is you think about if you're leveraging us for that typical order to cash process. So you're selling into Costco or Home Depot or Lowe's or Walmart, maybe Amazon and Shopify as well. If you've shipped X amount of product, that you've fulfilled purchase orders for a certain number, but the challenge most companies have is there's really kind of a cliff of visibility. The $1,000,000 question is, what has happened after that product has shipped? It's now left my warehouse or it's left my 3PL, and I know that it's supposedly gotten to those retailers, but I don't have visibility to how much has sold. How much product do I have left at a particular retailer or across all my retailers or even within a specific region? Where was it sold? Is there a region where it's moving more quickly? How much did it sell for? The $1,000,000 piece is really trying to figure out what are the trends that are out there in the market. You don't want to be reactive as you're making those decisions, because if you're reactive, now you're trying to figure out how much inventory do I need, and it's more of a guessing game, and it's not really driven by the data strategically. And that's really where we can come alongside and help. The way that we do that is through sell-through data that SPS Commerce has. We call it our analytics product. And to kind of give you an idea of what the need looks like, we'll use the story and example of Adidas. Very well-known thing that happened here in the last couple of years. Adidas, super prominent brand, has a shoe called the Samba. They actually call it the Samba OG. And that's because back in the 70s and 80s, if you were big into soccer, you probably wore a pair of Sambas, maybe casually, maybe also out on the field, right? These Sambas were very popular then, but in a way that no one really expected. Back in 2022 and 2023, there was a 500% increase in consumer demand. Something happened along social media and other places that there was suddenly a viral demand for more Sambas. You were not the cool kid at school unless you were wearing these. So the $1,000,000 question for Adidas, when you think about all the different channels, stores, and markets where they're selling their shoes, is to figure out really quickly, okay, how is it selling? How quickly is it selling? Are there places where it's selling more quickly than others? Like, what are those trends? And that's what this sell-through data allows you to do. I don't know if there's any worse scenario for a company than to realize there's a massive increase in the consumer's desire for your product, but you don't see it quickly enough, or you're reactive to it, and you realize we don't have enough inventory on hand to meet that demand. And because we were late to meet the demand, we might have missed that window, and that's just lost revenue. Or the demand hit so hard across all the retailers you work in, there's literally empty shelves sitting in those stores. The stores won't leave them empty. They're going to have to put somebody else's product in there to fill it when it should be your product because the consuming public wants it. And that's what this sell-through data allows you to see and make decisions off of, so that you can stay ahead of the curve when it comes to demand planning and managing your inventory levels. The challenge with that, as we jump ahead, is that this data is out there. Every buying organization and customer that you work with as a products company, a CPG company, has this data, this sell-through data, whether it's a marketplace or a distributor, classic typical retailers, or even e-commerce platforms. The problem is that it is fundamentally disparate data. It might be an XML or CSV file format. It might be an 852 EDI document to get really technical. It might be out there and expect they're going to give it to you in an API. And that's the challenge for you as the NetSuite user, is that while the data is out there, it's just all over the place and it's too hard to use. Jumping ahead here, Jeff, That's the problem, is when you have that data, but it's fundamentally siloed, you're not able to make informed decisions. And so you have to rely on historical sales data. What happened with our product 6 months ago or a year ago? You've got to use generic industry reports that all of your competitors are using, and basically just intuition. How do we think things are going to work? That's not a great way to run a business, and it leaves it more of a guessing game than true science. And that's where the compilation of this sell through data with SPS is a way that we can help you make better decisions. What SPS does is we actually go out, because again, thinking back to that network, we are the industry experts in the different ways that your trading partners give this data, whether it's a portal, an API, a CSV file. SPS goes out to the market according to your trading partners, gathers all of that data, cleanses it, aggregates it, and then hands it to you in a single format. And here's where it really starts to make magic. We can take all of that sell through data, super critical for you to meet those consumer demands and manage your inventory and demand planning, and we can feed it into NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. And when you're running NetSuite as an ERP, and you know within your ERP how much you've shipped, you have demand planning tools, you have inventory metrics within the ERP. Now, by cross-referencing it and using these BI tools you'll see in a second from Jeff, you are now ahead of the game, making strategic decisions with that data to help you stay ahead of the market. What we see as we've looked out at the customers leveraging us right now with this product is that there's a 68% 2-year revenue growth, which is a massive increase, 19% increase in sell-through volume, and typically a 12% increase in gross margin. You're able to find the places where your product sells for the best margins. This isn't a new product for SPS. Go ahead, Corey.
Sorry to interrupt. We had a couple questions pop up based on that last slide. One, do the retailers need to approve the data distribution?
No, so the retailers have the data out there. It's just a question of how they're making it available to you. Some of them will ask you to log into their portal. Others are going to give it to you in all the different formats, but it's there, ready to be handled. It's just compiling it that's the challenge.
And then the other question was, how often is market data refreshed?
So it'll depend and vary by retailer, but typically you can expect that you can have a refresh of that data on a weekly basis. Some retailers even refreshing it daily.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. As I was saying, there's a lot of evidence to show the way you can build your business with this. And for SPS, we've been leveraging this for over 15 years. We have over 10,000 customers that are leveraging this sell-through inventory data. Just a look here at some of our mutual customers with NetSuite, you get a feel for the different brands that are using it. I know when I think of the solo stoves that I constantly see popping up neighbor by neighbor when I go through my neighborhood, these are brands that are scaling. They are meeting consumer demand. And a major way that they're doing that is leveraging this sell-through data. So I'm going to hand it over to Jeff, and he can help you take a look at what does it look like to build out dashboarding and demos to really see what that looks like synced up with NetSuite.
Matt, can I ask, hey, so Jeff, before you jump in, there was one more question that popped up here, Matt. Maybe we just touch on this before we hand it over to Jeff. It says, can I use the SPS NSAW solution if I don't use SPS as my day-to-day EDI provider?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of customers will use us for both ends of that, but there's also companies out there who have a different EDI provider, and so they're just using us for the sell-through data. You don't have to have both products to leverage what we're talking about today. Great.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Matt. Jeff, take it away.
Perfect. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Matt. Well, pleasure to be on with everybody today. I appreciate the time. My name is Jeff.aly. I'm a senior manager of solution architecture at Bryant Park Consulting. Bryant Park is an all things NetSuite partner. So we focus in on the core NetSuite ERP, the modules in and around NetSuite, as well as the Oracle package solutions for NetSuite, one of which we're talking today with NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. And as it relates to some of those areas, we focus in really around our technology partners as that foundation. NetSuite and SPS are where we focus this solution, how we can streamline those processes that Matt was mentioning, right? Getting data to one place, but also what are the tools that are required to actually accomplish that in an efficient, cost-effective manner too. NSAW and the packaging around NSAW has allowed customers to not only leverage the package integration and feed of NetSuite data to that data warehousing solution, but also to visualize and tie in other data sources. And that's where our partnership with SPS is really focused in context of allowing customers to get more value out of not only their NetSuite data, but their SPS data in conjunction with that data as well. So as a part of this process too, and as we talk about this application, artificial intelligence is infused throughout it. And I'll show several examples of that today. I won't be able to show every feature, but especially when it comes to the functions features, I'm going to focus in on a few of them. The first is going to be auto insights, how and where the application is actually able to make proactive recommendations of visualizations. The sentiment analysis that the application is also being able to provide, and the system providing a system AI-driven analytics around your data and data sets. But also too, I'll talk about the AI predictive models. One example we'll talk about is customer churn, how I use my data and how the system can actually make proactive recommendations in context to that performance is huge. And that's where letting the tool do a lot of that foundational lift and making those proactive recommendations is where our customers are seeing their ability to move quickly based on that data. There are additional machine learning capabilities, native capabilities, as well as that can get extended even to the Oracle machine learning capabilities of what's packaged with this technology. So I'm excited to have a chance to take you through some of those functions features as we get into the demonstration here. So the view you're seeing here is the analytics layer of NSAW. As a part of this process, this application has a pre-packaged data pipeline with NetSuite, and we've worked with SPS to actually package up a data pipeline and feed of that information to this tool as well. But what I'm showing you here is the ability to actually tie and leverage the interconnectivity across these visualizations and reports. By filtering through this data, this allows me to have dynamic filtering where it ties not only to one visualization, but it's dynamic across every area as I want to drill in and better understand the performance of our business at the end of the day. And so I'm looking at several sales KPI metrics when it comes to sales dollars, units sold, number of locations, number of products. But as I'm filtering through this information, I can see that tie down geographically. I can see how that ties into my individual retailer trends on the right, and how that trend and performance ties to other comparables like a linear trend or regression that the system also automatically generates as a part of these reports and analytics as well. In addition to that, I can even drill down a level deeper as it relates to being able to look at this performance of my sales year over year. Being able to have that quick comparison and understanding how are we tracking in these areas when it comes to individual retailers, geographies, and even down to individual products at the end of the day. Because having that flexibility and traceability from summary to detail is so critical as you're evaluating your data and performance to be able to make strategic decisions as a part of this process. This tool allows you to share this data in multiple capacities, right? I have this great business intelligence layer, but I can always extract this data. I can send scheduled reporting distributions. I can extract this data to PDF, Excel. I can extract it to PowerPoint. And it also has connectivity with Excel too, utilizing a feature called Smart View. So there's a lot of ways that customers are able to utilize this information, but also share this information with stakeholders within and around the business as well. So as a part of this process as well, this can tie into other areas where I want to be able to have greater flexibility and analytics around my inventory and my performance, being able to see my units on order, what's in transit, the status of my inventory across that data and data structure. I can see this to a very granular level, as well as I can also grab macro trends. One of those features that actually captures that is that sentiment analysis that we're looking at right here. This is AI looking at my performance, and it's calling out and highlighting some key areas within that performance that I should really focus on as I'm looking at what and how our business is performing across different areas. And it's that dynamic, similar to what we were looking at on the last set of analytics, as I filter this down to a specific region or filter it out to more of a global view for our business. It has that dynamic capability. So it's always looking at the right level of your data in context, the analytics you're trying to produce as a part of that process. But this isn't only just a tool for historicals, right? This is intended to also help me understand what does this mean for our future in context to looking at things like our data pipeline. for opportunities, tying in that information and understanding the statuses of those opportunities, intended and targeted close dates, and what are we anticipating as the revenue implications as a part of that process as well. It gives me the flexibility to look at it across my sales force in context of that process, as well as this tool can also even manage commission processes around that sales process as well. So a lot of flexibility of what these capabilities can help drive for businesses, from giving better insights to actually driving and executing on processes like commissions. And those are areas that BPC, Bryant Park, has focused on very heavily in regards to how this tool can help customers within the SPS and NetSuite ecosystem. One of the next areas I wanted to hit on was that customer churn AI predictive model. So here's an example of that coming to life, where this model is actually looking at my customers, and it's looking at different profiles of customers. I can categorize these customers into large, small. I can look at different demographic information as a part of different attributes that are going to tie into what is going to contribute to a customer's retention. And what does that retention look like based on those trends I see across similar customer groupings and types? And so in here, I have the ability to look at this down to the individual customer level based on those predictions. And based on that prediction, it's actually saying they're likely to, renew the next 2, 4, 6 months. But as we get into, months 10 and 12, we're seeing these customers churn. And so as a part of that process, this allows us to utilize these capabilities to really hone in on how can we focus on a more strategic process and approach for renewals, as well as this can also tie into other areas with those predictive capabilities. So again, there's an inventory stock out prediction. There's an pricing optimization predictive capability as well that can get applied to your data to allow this system to look at that large volume of information and help you glean faster insights in regards to how you drive and incorporate that decision making into your business. But two, as you see this, I can also tie in different variables as a part of how I want to look at the risk ratings for my accounts as well. And this will too, that allows me to have flexibility in actually managing the different risk score that I have for different customers. So by having that approach, I create customer profiles. Having that profile allows me to better have association and understanding of how this information is getting used and what does it mean when it says they're going to actually potentially churn in 10 or 12 months based on that type of customer profile as well. The next section here is just showing you how you have that overarching visibility across your performance. So in this example here, this is looking at a 12-month rolling forecast. And in the application, the system can also help you build out a projection based on a time series forecast. So by utilizing those dynamic filters, the system is proactively providing a recommended projection based on your performance. How great is that, right? We've talked about looking at analyzing our opportunity data and pipeline, using other factors when it comes to AI capabilities to also get better insight in regards to our customer performance, pricing, inventory stockouts. But also too, the system can actually help me make a proactive recommendation and forecast based on different areas that it ties to statistical inputs, operational metrics, but also in conjunction with some of the financial areas as well, as you're looking at these implications in relation to cash flows, top line projections as a part of that process as well. So very flexible capabilities utilize some of those time series forecasting functions as well. And then the last component I note here too is just, again, having that dynamic visualization across the organization is the fact is this is not a tool that's limited to the house of accounting. This is a business tool at the end of the day that I can allow and get this capability into my sales reps and marketing, other areas of the business as you're looking at driving performance improvements and really managing the business end to end as you think of how this tool brings all of that data together, then how you drive action from that data as a part of this process. Pause
Jeff,
there.
we had a couple of questions pop up. The first, how long does it typically take to implement NSAW?
Yeah, great question. NSAW is deployed very quickly because of the fact that we actually have that package data pipeline with NetSuite, the data warehouse, as well as the fact we've worked with SPS to package up that integration and data model within NSAW as well. It's a matter of a couple of weeks to get you in the tool, starting to use your data and thinking about how you're going to incorporate these functions features as a part of the broader business application.
The other question, in what ways are you seeing customers grow in their use of NSAW?
Yeah, really it ties a lot to these AI capabilities, how and where they're able to tie in more and more of those functions and features, but also to thinking of this as a business tool, right? There are other data systems that you have and can incorporate to this application as well. And that's where those packaged ETL capabilities that Corey was mentioning earlier too, allow you to do that all in one system. I don't have to go out and buy a new BI tool, then a data warehouse, then an ETL solution. NetSuite's packaged this up in a very intentional way to allow you to have those tools right at your fingertips as you're thinking of making this a business tool.
Perfect. That's all the questions that were in the chat, at least, or that were posted here.
Awesome. Corey, I'll pass things over to you, sir, to close us out.
Perfect. So first and foremost, thanks for joining us today. If you would like further information, please contact your NetSuite account manager, who will then be able to bring in the appropriate resources so you can further evaluate and see how your company can optimize the revenue and profitability. So once again, thank you for joining us and have a great day.